So if you're a guy over 40 who knows that something needs to change, maybe you need to start working on your fitness a little bit more, or maybe you need to start eating better or sleeping better, you just know that overall you're not doing as good of a job as you probably could, and maybe you're noticing some different kinds of declines, like maybe the markers that you're getting back from your doctor are not as good as they're supposed to be or should be. Maybe you're gaining some weight, and maybe you just don't feel as strong or as resilient as you did back in your younger years. But I think the big problem here is you're faced with a lot of decisions, and these decisions come on like, what nutrition plan should I be on? What fitness program should I be on? What should I do to maybe make my sleep a little bit better? Should I get a sauna? Maybe I should do cold plunges. Maybe I should intermittent fast, right? There's so many questions that I think even for the most well-intentioned guy, it becomes very easy to really get lost in the weeds. And let's face it, when there's so many variables and so many different things to consider, and you're someone who wants to do things the right way, it can almost be paralyzing. It can stop you dead in your tracks. And that's probably the worst thing to happen, because if you stop dead in your tracks, things just don't get better. And the other thing I find, and this is from spending decades in the world of health and fitness and nutrition and just health in general, I find that a lot of guys, when they don't really know where to start, they might find things and start doing things that are not necessarily the right answer. And let me just give you an example. One of the biggest problems for most guys over 40 is they have to lose some body fat. So when you have a goal of losing body fat, you do things that promise that goal. And sometimes those things are not the most healthful things. For example, jumping on a keto diet. I'm not saying it's not helpful, there's a time and a place, but it may not be the answer for you. Or maybe cutting your calories. You get MyFitnessPal and you start tracking all your foods and you reduce your calories. And look, a lot of times you're gonna get the result, but the problem is it's not a sustainable result. So that would be an example of not really doing the right things. So because this world of health and fitness and nutrition and sleep and just overall well-being is so messy, I think it's why it's so important to get some help on this journey. Now, for me, back in my late 20s, I got diagnosed with cancer, and I decided to opt out of chemotherapy so that I could get myself back to good health without doing the magic pill approach. I know it sounds kind of funny thinking that chemotherapy is a magic pill. It is, but I wasn't in a healthy place, so I knew I needed to get my health back first before I did chemotherapy. And you know what I did? Because I didn't know where to start, I didn't even know what to do, I hired a bunch of people to help me, a bunch of experts who knew what it would take to get my health back, so that when I did go to chemotherapy, that I was in such a good place that I bounced back very, very quickly. And now that was almost 20 years ago. Here I am today. I wouldn't be here today had I not gone that route. So again, when something gets really overly complicated, but you know what's important, that's the time where you want to reach your hand out. That's the time where you want to get some help so that you can have clarity on this whole journey forward. You need to know exactly where to start with nutrition. You need to know exactly where to start with your fitness, what things you might need to start looking at as far as your sleep goes. And you want to start with the fundamentals, the foundational elements first, the simple stuff, before you bring in complexity. And quite honestly, we're always trying to keep complexity as low as possible, because the more complex something becomes, the harder it is to sustain. So the whole challenge with health is to keep things as simple as possible so that you can not only get the results, you can sustain the results for a lifetime.